Well, there it is. There it is. It's working now. Donald J. Trump is your presidential nominee. Who in the hell is Donald J. Trump? Does anybody know the answer to that one? Good morning, Senator Joe Griffo.
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
I think that's Doris Day's cousin.
Little faux pas there. Is it Donald J. Trump?
It's Jay.
Jay. Yeah.
Jay.
So Senator Joe Griffo is in. Good morning, Christine Bellino.
Good morning. How do you make that mistake?
I don't know.
It's Donald John Trump.
Yeah, I don't know, but it had happened. But other than that, there were really, it was a very positive night. They seemed to get past the plagiarism thing, and the kids are stars. I mean, those kids could be running for president on their own. Good morning, Senator. Good morning.
It's great to be with you guys. I still have such great admiration and respect for having to get up.
Yeah, bright and early.
You guys do a great job.
So you were there. You were at the convention. You came back yesterday and actually did a parade last night.
Correct.
But obviously, quite an event, right? I mean, this is a big deal.
It's a very big deal in both cases, both in Cleveland and Philadelphia. When you think about our democratic process, both conventions, and this year I think more so than in the past, when the conventions have been used as an infomercial. This year you really have a lot of things happening, even though there were not so many surprises, including the first day I happened to be there on Monday, and the rules fight really wasn't a rules fight relative to the selection of the candidate this year, but looking forward to the party's future. And so there were a lot of interest, excitement around the convention. The security is amazing. I was really impressed with the city of Cleveland and what they're attempting to do there to try to keep people safe, obviously. And never seen so many law enforcement officers from so many parts of the country. The difficult thing is when you ask directions.
Right, some of them don't know where they don't know
Florida,
where you're going. Right. Did you see any of last night at all? It was New York, of course, got the opportunity to his kids to add the delegates to put Trump over the top, that 1237. And there was some protesting. It was a little more intense yesterday, but police handled it very well. Their whole strategy was to split up the groups, and it seemed to, Christine, it seemed to work. There really wasn't anything out of place last night.
It really did seem to work, and I don't want to jinx anything, but it seems like we may know what we're doing, and I think we're prepared for kind of everything, and I say that, with the caveat that we live in a totally different world with completely different means of, protesting, and you never know when an innocent protest is going to turn into something else. But I think overall the reports have been that everybody's done an amazing job vis-a-vis security and everything else in Cleveland.
Yeah, you'd agree with that, Joe?
Absolutely. In fact, that's very well a great depiction of what's taking place, Christine. I quite impressed, and yes, let's hope that everything continues to be safe in Cleveland and in Philadelphia, because that's the essence of our democratic process. It's great to see people out there expressing themselves. It was encouraging. Obviously, there's some showmanship there too.
Yeah,
there's a few of them that get absurd and are looking for
there's
attention.
A little that's creativity, that's typical of the conventions.
Right, but the protests for the most part were very loud and organized, but orderly.
Yeah,
the police officers, I think, were interacting in a great way with the community and those who were protesting, as well as those who were attending the convention. It's difficult to navigate. The logistics are tough, but I think that's to be expected as a result of trying to ensure that you have the utmost security. But we have 2 more days and next week, and let's hope that everything goes without incident.
Well, today you'll hear from Ted Cruz. Most likely Newt Gingrich. I don't know how many kids Trump has, but there might be another kid in there.
There's going to be another kid. I think Eric is speaking.
I think so. And then Pence, I believe, is tonight, right?
Correct.
And then of course tomorrow night will be the big Trump speech. And you kind of wonder. I could just see Trump coming in tomorrow night and beginning with the teleprompter and just saying, you know what, I'm the nominee. I'm not going to follow the teleprompter. I'm just going to wing it.
I think possible, but more unlikely, because 2 critical areas of any
they're really trying to control him.
Well, I don't know about controlling him, but I think it's so important.
Well, he never used a teleprompter prior to this. That campaign is trying to control him.
Again, remember, though, Bill, this is probably the most two important elements that a candidate can make, particularly when you've secured the nomination and you're going to move from this convention now as a Republican nominee for the office of president, is to select a vice president. And I think that went well. When you consider some of the past selections and what the media, the frenzy.
Do you think that really went well? That was a debacle, Joe.
The selection of vice president?
Yeah, it was terrible. With the announcement, it was leaked out.
The announcement I think was difficult because
the selection. You think his selection was a good
selection of Pence?
Yeah,
I think spoke a lot to.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
And then the second is the speech that will be delivered on Thursday night. That's a very important speech for him. Probably the most important speech he will have given thus far, and it's an opportunity for him to present himself now as the nominee as of the Republican Party for the office of president. So I think you're going to need to have some focus.
You've used focus and logic. Show me where anybody at all this year in the last year has been correct when it comes to predicting Donald Trump.
Well, you're right.
That's crazy. I mean, at least there's still an element of I wonder what's going to happen.
Well, I think that's part of the package which you get with Donald Trump, right?
I guess
but
it is.
I think he recognizes and understands the significance and importance of what the speech will make if you really want to win. Yeah. And as he came out Monday night, one of the first things he said is, we're going to win. We're going to win big.
We're going to win big, which we've heard that so many times. Okay, so last night Chris Christie had a big night, gave a speech. And it turned out to be. Here's a little bit of Chris Christie here. So
tonight, as a former federal prosecutor, I welcome the opportunity to hold Hillary Rodham Clinton accountable for her performance and her character. Now.
Although I got to tell you, after his and he just roasted Hillary Clinton, as everybody kind of did last night. But Hillary's response on Twitter was, "If you think that Chris Christie is a spokesperson for ethics, I have a bridge to sell you," which I thought was a pretty good comeback. Rachel Sutherland, Fox News, on the line right now. Rachel, good morning. Why do I have nothing here, Andrew?
Hello.
Hey, I got you now. Good morning there, Rachel. How about now? Oh, it's got to be over here. Yeah, can you set this board up before I start, somebody, please, so this isn't happening? Good morning, Rachel. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. So last night was, I want to say, uneventful but eventful. There's really no terrible story to talk about here today other than Paul Ryan with a little bit of a slight faux pas. It was a big night last night.
It was a really big night for Donald Trump, because if you think about it, a year ago or so, people were laughing when he launched his campaign and rode that escalator. And love him or hate him, he has achieved something that most people didn't think he could do. Last night, Donald Trump Jr. actually delivered the delegates from New York and put him over the top, and he got emotional at that moment. We also heard from Tiffany Trump talking about her dad, saying that he helped her achieve her full potential. That's the kind of dad he is, and he would make a great president of the United States. And so you did begin to see that sort of more human side of Donald Trump through the eyes of his children, and that was interesting. And you mentioned Chris Christie kind of making the case against Hillary Clinton last night. Is she guilty or not? It was a fascinating evening. Maybe not as much drama as the night before with the Never Trumpers getting upset and storming out, but you had a different kind of feel to it. It was an emotional night in a different kind of way, with his children speaking, and with House Speaker Paul Ryan calling on Republicans now to unite. Although I didn't think it was the most compelling thing when he said that voters need to go to the polls and see this thing through. Seeing something through sounds like, you're getting over the flu. Right.
It was very interesting. And how do you make a mistake with his name? What do they call him? Donald Day Trump. How do you make that mistake?
Fatigue. I don't know for sure, but it really could just be fatigue.
And the kids. Back to the Trump's kids. These kids are impressive. I think their speeches were incredibly well done and inspiring.
Agreed. They were, and they obviously were thoroughly prepped and have been raised a certain way. I mean, some people feel like, I think Chris Christie said something like, you can tell a lot about a person by their children. And I, I'm a parent. I say yes and no. I mean, it's that whole, was it genetics or was it the way they were raised? And it's always probably a little both. Yeah.
Nature versus nurture, and a combination
exactly.
thereof.
And I don't take credit necessarily for my children, but everybody's got a different opinion on that. And they were impressive children, no doubt.
All right. Well, listen, what comes today? So today we can expect Ted Cruz. It's going to be interesting to see what he has to say, because he hasn't come right out to say I'm doing any endorsing. He's speaking, and that's as far as he's let on.
That's right, and that's what makes it so interesting. I don't expect Ted Cruz to come out on stage and then say, I'm not endorsing this guy, and then leave. I mean, that would be newsworthy.
It would be. There's no doubt.
But not likely to happen.
And Newt Gingrich expected, and, of course, and Pence all coming up today. Yeah. It should be a big day, and, of course, tomorrow night culminating to the big Trump speech.
That's right, and they're going to drop 125,000 balloons from the ceiling and 1,000 pounds of confetti.
That 1,025 balloons. You said that? That's what it was? 1,025.
125,000 balloons.
125,000 balloons, which represents the number of days that they feel Hillary should be in jail, I believe. It means something. All right, Rachel, thanks so much. We appreciate your time. Rachel Sutherland, Fox News. And so what do you think, Christine Bellino? This is really kind of what they wanted, the night they wanted. No talks of plagiarism. The kids' big event, Donald Trump. New York gets to put him over the top.
That's right, and we'll see what Ted Cruz says today, but I think the plagiarism stuff really didn't stick, despite the fact that it was all over every newscast yesterday.
Yeah.
I think, relatively speaking, it was a slow news day, Roger Ailes news aside. But I think this is it. This is now the time for the RNC to celebrate.
It was hammered yesterday, the plagiarism thing. What did you think of that, Joe? Hammered hard all day long, but Trump, that team did not. They didn't apologize. They said it was ridiculous, and they just plowed forward.
I think that's an illustration of what the campaign has been all about. You just, and I don't really think there's much to be said there about the plagiarism. She talked about,
it was pretty.
She talked about.
In fairness, it was somebody screwed up there. Even Lewandowski said yesterday that whoever wrote that speech should be fired.
Yeah, and she indicated that she had looked at it, and I thought she delivered it well that night.
We don't think she plagiarized. Did we think that?
No, I don't think she plagiarized.
But somebody did.
I think
somebody
the staff is presenting a lot of this stuff.
Wrote it.
Although, one of Tiffany's speech is very similar to a Chelsea Clinton speech from way back when.
Is that
that's the latest.
There you go. Listen, and now we bring up a new segment here with Joe Griffo's new ally, Jim Zecca. And the question is, the new segment, what would Jim Zecca say? And in this category, it's what would Jim Zecca say after last night's nomination? And I have it here, and it is... I was spot on with Trump, Bill, smiley face. That's officially from Jim Zecca this morning. Spot on, smiley face.